Stardust Codon back with another video, and in this video I'm going to be showing you some of the sketch references I've made for the creature designs for Tamen TCG, and explaining or giving a brief explanation of the archetypes for some of these creatures. I think there's how many did I do? There might be four or five design inspiration, so there's about 4 or 5 archetypes to talk about, and hopefully I can get it done within 10 minutes, because that seems to be the limit my phone has until I have to make another video. And for this one, the first one, you see merfolk, mermaids, aquatic people, and I knew I wanted one of those in there, like, from the very beginning, because when you think of RPG type gaming, which is what Tommen is sort of based around, the old school RPG stuff, mermaids are one of the more popular choices. But I didn't want to go with just a generic human being with fish tails. I wanted to get a little bit more monstrous. I'll go with monstrous with it, a little more out there. So I saw a few images where they would change the designs to having the fins be ears, or they'll have like a little illumination up here in their foreheads, like an anglerfish. There was one interesting one where I saw they had like a cephalopod head, which is like an octopus or a squid. I thought that was really cool, so I kind of jotted that down. In a lot of them, they seem to be holding tridents, staffs, things like that. And something that's very slim, very mobile in the water. So I jotted that down too. And you can't really see the one here, but in this one, it's this merfolk. She's more of a squid or octopus. So instead of just one tail, she has like 7 or 8 tentacles for moving around. And here there's another squid folk. That could be a thing, but no. Another merfolk who, instead of having just hair, instead of having just hair, she has tentacles for hair that would move around. So it's a bit Medusa-like, which I never would have thought of if I hadn't looked at it myself. And it got me thinking, well, you could have a lot of merfolk with a lot of head features or hair features, like coral, anemone, because it'd be very paralyzing to touch them, or things like that. Um, jellyfishish, jellyfish-like, kelp, any kind of seagrass and things like that. And then there should be, oh yeah, okay, another sketch. No, I sketch really lightly, I'm sorry. Another sketch right here where it shows the arm itself, and just a little area where the scales could go, where the fins could go. It can go in a whole bunch of different areas, so I'm gonna mess around with that a little bit. I have drawn a few mermaid cards before. There was one I really liked. I named her Dragon. I named her Dragoness Mermaid because was very she was supposed to look very large, very long, had a very flowing tail that was like the length of her body, and yeah, it's hard to explain it. I'd have to find it, but it's really cool. And I'm sorry for the shaky cam, but my usual setup just isn't working today, and I'm not trying to spend half an hour MacGyvering something. But well, already almost halfway into this, and I've only gotten one, so I might have to split this up a little bit because I don't want to rush it. This next one, not much here, but you can tell by the image, if you've ever seen Guardians of the Galaxy, you've seen Groot, and it looks like a tree person, which what it is to called a plant folk, which I'm not sure is a real thing. I typed it in and you don't get much, so I didn't have much to reference. But I did write down a few notes for what they could be like. So like having for their hair, they could have like grass, vines, or branches, flowers, leaves, etc., etc. And for their skin, it would mostly be grass-like vines, uh, wood even for tree folk, which are actually ents, E-N-T-S. I'm not sure if that's going to be like if they're going to be the same or if it's going to be different. It's still like in the very first concept, so I've got a lot of stuff to think about, and yeah, not much here. Like only three things. I have another one. I have another one. Like this is just a newer one, but I have like actual plant people that I've drawn, and I'll show that when I get to it. This next one is just a drawing of birds, because birds are very common in like monster games, like especially Pokemon. Like when you first start, the first monsters you're gonna hit are birds. My shadow keeps showing up. So I took a few out of there. Took a few fantasy sketch shots, like here, there. Took a few actual birds, a few of their designs. Um, I really like raptor raptor heads, and not Raptor the dinosaur, but Raptor the birds of prey. If you've never known that, you call the big birds that usually attack the smaller creatures. They've got like a large wingspan, sharp beaks, like hawks, eagles, falcons, things of that nature. They're raptors. Uh, Normally called sometimes they're called sky raptors, but they represent what raptors were. So I guess that's why they're called that. Got an owl here. The owl was made off of a fantasy drawing, but I liked what it was going with. Like I could really change up the ears here. They could be like antlers, or they could be actual horns. I could put a third eye in there because owls are meant to look wise, even though they're not. They're uh, ravens are really the wisest animals of the birds. I mean, they'll sit there and they'll drop a nut in the street just to have someone run it over, and they'll pick it up and fly off. So that's pretty clever. Never seen an owl do that. And the last one down here, this one's just for more mythical creatures like the phoenix or the griffin. I didn't do the whole thing because I just needed the head shape. I needed to figure out how I would get the head flowing to the body, and I'll definitely work more on that. And then here's the second set of. Oops, sorry. I keep saying sorry like someone's here. I keep. Here's the second set of bird drawings. This one here, another fantasy bird. Well, they're all fantasy bird technically. I got them off of that, but this one representing more of the raptor birds of prey, and the idea I have for him is not for the creature itself, but like for the creatures in general. It is like larger birds of prey having the details of smaller birds of prey. So this would be like a humongous eagle with like maybe a 40-foot wingspan. Okay, maybe a little bit smaller because creatures with a 40-foot wingspan, there's a certain name for them in my game, and I'll talk about that later. I'm running out of time, so uh, at the 950 mark, I'll have to stop and then show another piece. But giving him like owl features, and just imagine seeing an owl that huge coming at you would be a little terrifying. A vulturish thing here. I liked how that looked, so I took that, and I'm gonna try and mess around with that. Give him some spikes or some sharp feathers, things of that nature. Practicing on the eyes and the beaks. Practicing on the really tall flightless birds like the emus and the ostrich and the cassowary. That's a scary looking bird if you've ever seen one. And I'm gonna have to stop the video right here for a minute, and then on the next one I'll show part 2.